Okay, so sorry, I just noticed my hair is like looking a little pompadour here right now. But today is Thursday. I would have liked to have gotten this video done yesterday, which is the second week in a row that I've said that, and I don't like that. I don't remember I think last week I was just really tired and busy on Wednesday, and then this week was just I had a project I was working on and finally got done. And now I just really want to get a lot of videos out that I've been meaning to get out. So, week 6 NFL picks. Let's go ahead and get started. Game 1 is happening tonight. Denver at Kansas City. I know my dad's actually coming over to watch it. As I've said before, my dad is a huge Chiefs fan, and I generally root for the Chiefs as a result of that. They're not my team. I am a Saints fan. But I've got Kansas City winning this game. Few reasons. Number one, I don't think they have lost to Denver in the Mahomes era just at all. And, well, obviously, past success, especially in the NFL, where it's a very year-to-year, hell, it's like a week-to-week league at times. Past success is not always an indication of future success. But when it's in a division, you're like, this is a team you know really well. But even then, I mean, it's like this is what, like their third different head coach in 3 years, or like the fourth in like 5 or 6 years. Like Denver's gone through a lot of change, but how much of that change has really been for the better? Like they've just been kind of I can't even say the punching bags of the Chiefs, because even then Denver tends to be competitive in games. I feel like it's rare that they've been completely blown out, but Kansas City and Mahomes specifically just has their number. Yes, it's a short week. Anything can happen. Yes, Travis Kelce is not at 100%. But I mean, a fully healthy Denver team doesn't even feel like they're at a 100% either. Like, I feel like Denver at their best is like 80% of Kansas City. Now, maybe I'm saying all of this and it's like, well, Denver's going to win by 17 and I'm completely jinxing the Chiefs. It could happen. I think I've gotten the Thursday night game wrong the last 2 weeks, because I picked Washington to beat Chicago. I picked Green Bay to beat Detroit. I was very, very back and forth on that one. That was week 6, week 5, week 4. Don't remember what it was week 3 off the top of my head. So I have no idea if I got it right or not, but I remember I got the Vikings-Eagles one right. That might be the only Thursday game I've gotten correct so far this year. Hopefully, Denver and Kansas City fixes that, but yeah, I'm picking Kansas City. To me, that's kind of no question. The next is the Ravens and the Titans, and this is a game in London, where it's not like last week where I'm like, okay, like the past 2 weeks, I'm like, okay, the Jaguars' second home is in London. I think the Bills are a better team on paper and on a neutral site, but the Jags have been there longer. I still took the Bills, but I was like, the jet lag really might play. It's probably going to play a big role, but I think the Bills wake up in the second half. I was right on both, but the Jags still won. This one, I'm like, which of these teams do I believe in? Because, man, there have been some games where I'm like, the Ravens look good, and then other games where, like, you just, like last week, where they beat themselves. I don't really trust the Ravens as much as I want to. I just don't. I trust the Titans more. And the reason I say that is not because it is because the Titans are more consistent. Because on odd weeks they win, and on even weeks they lose. No, excuse me. Other way around. It's odd weeks they lose, even weeks they win. And I'm picking the Titans solely because of that. This is week 6. This is an even week. This is a week where the Titans play good. So it's going to happen. If the Ravens were like such a better team, where I'm like, dude, like they're going to beat the shit out of the Titans, I could maybe feel more comfortable picking them. I'm like, no, like the Steelers have a good defense and the Ravens play like dog shit against them. So do the Titans. That Titans pass rush is going to go hard. They might not get a lot of sacks. Of course, Lamar is a very mobile QB, but Pittsburgh still got a lot of plays on him too. Yeah, like I've got Tennessee. It's an even week. Until this proves me wrong, I think every odd-numbered week I'm picking Tennessee. Every odd week I'm picking whoever plays Tennessee. Every even week I'm picking Tennessee. I'm not sure how the bye week will affect that. If it's going to be every odd and even week, or if it's going to be every odd and even numbered game. That'll be a big deal. Or, this week they'll lose. I'm like, well, never mind. That was a pattern that had no bearing whatsoever. But, of course, correlation doesn't equal causation, but until it's broken, I'm going to say fuck it and go with it. So I got Tennessee. Panthers and the Dolphins. The Panthers have to get a win at some point, right? I don't think it's this week, but they gotta win at some point, right? Like, they do play the Bears. They might win that. They could beat the Falcons. They could beat the Saints. Division games are always weird. They could win any game in the division at some point. Especially if there's they're playing the division winner week 17 or week 18, I guess, who's resting their starters. They could definitely win one of those. They almost beat the Vikings. Yeah, but they're not beating the Dolphins. The Dolphins, Bills game aside, just look way too good. I know Carolina does have a pretty good defense. They're not scrubs on that end of the ball. It is a kind of strength-on-strength game, but I feel like the Dolphins, even without A-Chain, have so much speed and talent that they're going to break through eventually, and Bryce Young isn't going to be able to keep up. So I've got Miami. Oh, there's a Bahamut sighting. After that is the Saints are going to Houston. There's a part of me that's like, okay, the reason the Saints beat the Patriots by 34 points is because while the Saints do have some talent, this is a very good defense. This is on paper a good offense. It's not because both sides came together and played incredibly well. It's because the Patriots are that dog shit this year. Houston is not a phenomenal team, but they're not a completely dog shit team either. CJ Stroud is fucking good. The Saints are not going to win this week. The other part of me goes, am I really not going to pick my team to win after they just posted a 34-point shutout? I have to. CJ Stroud is really good. He's going to be playing against a really good defense. He hasn't thrown a pick yet. That might change. Tyrann Mathieu had a pick 6 last week. Marshawn Lattimore is he's going to be trying to get an interception too. Defense is going to keep us in it. Offense finally looked good. Kamara coming back is huge. Olave is really good. We can get Mike involved. It's also good. I'm going to pick the Saints. I don't know if I should. This is definitely the biased homer pick. But I'm really gonna. I got the Saints. Washington and Atlanta. I know I had said this in my weekend review video yesterday. Was it yesterday? I believe it was yesterday. Oh, hold on. Hey, sorry, completely lost my place. My dad just stopped by for a few minutes. He was in the neighborhood, wanted to say what's up, letting me know I know I was saying a little bit earlier, my dad's going to be coming over for the game. Maybe he won't be. It kind of depends on time and whatnot, how he's feeling at that point in the day. But regardless, I think I was just starting Washington and Atlanta. I have Atlanta winning. As much as I don't want to pick them, I don't feel comfortable picking Washington. As I had said in my video yesterday, maybe it was Tuesday. Yeah, it would have been Tuesday. Sorry, Dad coming on, I was in the middle of things, just kind of, it's not like it threw off my groove, so now I'm trying to get back into my groove. What I had said was, when I watched that Washington game, Ron Rivera looked checked out. When he's saying at halftime, you're down by 24 points, I didn't say anything to my guys, I let them do the talking. As I had said in the previous video, it's I can see that. It's you really know your guys. There's not much you can say. You know what they need to say to each other and everything. I can see that. Let the leaders in the locker room step up. But also, you're the head coach. You are the leader in the locker room. It's one thing to delegate, but it almost just kind of sounded I didn't really do anything. And, I don't know if they'll fire him in the middle of the season. But I think unless they go on if they go on a run, then he'll stay. But I think he's probably done after this year. And I feel like, Arthur Smith is a lot more involved. He seems like more maybe it's just because I like the mustache a lot. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna pick Atlanta to win because their head coach has a nice mustache. But it seems like there's more heart and more fire in Atlanta. And hey, I mean, Desmond Ridder played a really good game last week. And yeah, like I say, it's past success is not always indicative. It's a week-to-week league. In London, he played like shit. And then against Houston, he played fantastic. Who knows what he'll do against Washington? Washington played a really good game against the Eagles, which was sandwiched in between an up and down game against the Bears where they played like shit and then played well and then played like shit again. And the Bills game where they played like complete fucking trash. Who fucking knows? But I'll take Atlanta. After that, it's the Colts and the Jags. That didn't look like a T in my handwriting. I was like, who the fuck are the Colts? Who is that a nickname for? But the Colts and the Jaguars. It's kind of interesting to be like, we're only in week 6 and this division series is already gonna be done. Like, I understand playing a division game like pretty early, but also like the Jags haven't even played the Titans once yet and they're already done with the Colts. That's kind of fucking weird. Okay. I'm pretty sure Big Tony is still out for this game. I think they said he's going to be out for like a month or so. So this is Gardner Minshew going back to his old stomping grounds as a division rival. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to be fun. This is going to be, but I still got Jacksonville winning. It's been like, again, like past success isn't indicative of really anything, but also the Colts haven't won in Jacksonville in what, like 6 seasons or some shit? There was the Urban Meyer year where I think the Colts won. Was it the Urban Meyer? No, because the Urban Meyer year, they actually won a couple games. It was the year before that where the Jags won 1 game, and it was week 1 against the Colts, and they lost all the others. Then, I don't remember if this was the Urban Meyer year when the Colts looked like they were a lock for a playoff spot. All they had to do was beat a terrible Jags team on the road, and they would make the playoffs. And the Jags, with their fan base wearing fucking clown masks to make fun of their regime for being a bunch of fucking clowns, won the game because the Colts can't win at Jacksonville. It was a weird London experience. I get that. But the Jags still beat the Bills. I mean, that's a good win. That's a really good win. Even when the Bills woke up, they were able to hang with that offense. I mean, both teams had some injuries on defense, the Bills especially. But hosting a team without their starting QB at home that you have a lot of experience beating, I've got Jacksonville in this one. Next game will be San Francisco. Wait, that's not supposed to be San Francisco. That's Seattle. I thought that was an SF. That was an SEA. I was like, wait, San Francisco doesn't have 3 letters. What the fuck? Seahawks at the Bengals. There's a part of me that goes, okay, Cincinnati is 0-2 in the division, 0-3 in the conference, 2-0 against the NFC. Seattle's an NFC team. They'll win this one. That's them in their MO. The other part, and then that same part also goes, by the way, the Bengals looked really good last week. The other part of me goes, the Bengals have not really looked really good in consistent weeks. Seattle, meanwhile, is like, they're 4-1? They lost to the Rams, but then they beat Carolina, which isn't super impressive. They beat the Giants, which isn't super impressive. They beat the Lions. That's a good win. What was their other game? Or were they on bye last week? Actually, they might have been. Maybe they're only 3-1. I don't remember off the top of my head. But I believe that Rams. Sorry, I could not think of the team, even though I just said it. Aside from that Rams game, I don't believe they've lost yet this season. This looks like a well-rounded team. They have like a pretty solid starter in Geno. I don't think it's as good as like kind of his miracle season last year, but he's still playing pretty well. A not that bad defense. Like they've got some nice pieces on the secondary. Kenneth Walker is a really good running back, I think. Metcalf is still really good. Lockett is still like a really, really solid receiver. The Bengals still have those pieces too. They do have some good pieces on the defense, especially on the D-line. When Burrow's healthy, he can play really well. Jamar Chase just went fucking off. Seattle has looked more consistent to me. And to me, especially in these early parts of the season, I'm like, when we're not 100% who's good yet, because someone can always, like, you can have a bunch of wins, but you're kind of fraudulent anyways. I want to pick the team that's more consistent. And while the Bengals are more consistent against the NFC, Seattle's more consistent overall. So I'm going to take Seattle on the road. Who else do we got here? The Vikings and the Bears. This is probably a big upset pick, but I'm taking Chicago. The Vikings are not going to have Justin Jefferson. And I don't know how good their offense is going to be without him. Alexander Madison is okay. Like, their running game has not been great. It's nothing to really be scared of. They do have other pieces. Like, Hawkinson is pretty good. KJ Osborne, I don't remember the name of their, like, the rookie either. So, I mean, maybe one of them or all of them will kind of come together and have a really good game. But Justin Jefferson has really been their passing offense. Not like Kirk Cousins has played really well for the most part this season, although he has had, like, some really, like, crucial interceptions, like, especially in the red zone, I've noticed. But without JJ, I really don't know how good that offense is going to be. Now, they're playing against the Bears, but even then, I'm like, well, 2 weeks ago, the Bears exploded for like 28 points. Last week, they went off for 40. The Bears have maybe kind of figured it out. Now, granted, like, I mean, that was against Washington, who I'm not sure if this team's defense is good or not. I'm starting to lean toward no. I played Denver, whose defense is bad. But they're also going to be playing the Vikings, whose defense is also not that good. I'm shocked that I right now trust the Bears more than the Vikings. If Justin Jefferson was playing in this game, I would pick the Vikings. But I think his loss is going to be too much. And the Vikings just have crazy turnover problems. Not to say that the Bears don't, because the Bears do. But especially without Jefferson, I think Cousins is going to force it more than he should. So that's going to lead to an interception or two. Probably going to fumble once or twice because this Vikings team just has Butterfingers. I've got the Bears winning this one. And we've been hearing it all season. The Vikings, after their slow start, like, man, what are they going to do with Cousins? Someone going to come calling for Cousins. If they lose to the Bears, I think that's going to be when, okay, the Vikings are now just going to have to, like, tank or some shit. Maybe they are. Dude, the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Arizona is possibly in it. The Bears are in it. The Vikings are in it. The Patriots are maybe in it. The Broncos are in it. The only team that's terrible that isn't in it are the fucking Panthers because they don't have a number one pick. Oh, it's going to be some wild shit. Like, I'm looking forward to draft season. Like, I'm still, not to be like, man, I don't care about the actual season going on. I just care about this. I'm like, man, that's going to be fun too. Now, here's the 49ers. It's the 49ers at the Browns. There's a small part of me that goes, Cleveland does have a good defense. San Francisco, kind of like what I was saying about the Panthers earlier. It's like, the Panthers have to get a win at some point, right? It's like the 49ers have to lose at some point, right? Could this be it? No, after a really big win, not in the division, but in the conference against like one of the other supposedly really good teams, you just punch them in the mouth, step on their throat, and asserted your dominance. And it kind of causes you to overlook the next opponent. I could maybe see that. Cleveland has a really good defense. Now, apparently so did Dallas, but that didn't help. But Myles Garrett is really fucking good. Then again, I mean, it's like, well, who are like the 3 defensive players of the year so far this year? I mean, I feel like the ones I'm really hearing a lot about are Micah Parsons, who they've beaten, TJ Watt, who they've beaten, and now they're going to go against Myles Garrett. And they didn't just beat those 2 teams, they dominated them. And I mean, it's like, yeah, is Deshaun Watson playing? Maybe. Is that even helpful? I don't know, because he just has not looked very good. You think the 49ers defense is going to, like, they're going to fuck him up, dude. He's going to turn the ball over a lot. Like, I feel like you're going to get a good game from Cleveland's defense. 49ers are still going to do what they do. But Cleveland's defense is going to put up a lot of a fight. But the Cleveland offense is going to let them down. The 49er offense is going to have short fields, possibly a touchdown or 2 off a turnover. 49ers win. I don't think they go undefeated this year. They play Washington. That's when Washington is at their strongest, when they are playing a team that is undefeated with a big record. Because even against the Eagles, it's like they tried to use their power and it didn't quite work because the Eagles only had 4 wins. That's still a good streak, but it's not a crazy streak. So it's like the Washington Magic was almost there, but not quite. The next time those 2 teams play, if the Eagles are still undefeated, they're losing to Washington. If San Francisco is still undefeated by the time they play Washington, they're losing that game 100%. But I don't think they lose this week, but Cleveland's defense keeps it closer than it might look. Patriots and the Raiders. I literally have nothing written down because I try to write some of these notes like the Sunday of or like the Monday of. So like the Monday night game hadn't happened yet. But even now the Monday night game has happened, I'm like, I don't fucking know what to think of the Raiders. I don't know what to think of the Packers either. So, but I mean, the Packers are on bye, so I don't really have to say anything about them yet. I'm like, the Raiders, Josh McDaniels, he went for it on 4. This is the thing about the NFL. I remember 2 weeks ago, that Bears-Broncos game, the Bears had like a 4th and 1 in field goal range, like around like the 15 or the 20, it was something like that. They went for it, didn't get it, and so many people came after them like, why do you not take the points? What's wrong with you? That's a stupid decision in a game they lost by 3. In this game, the Raiders had a 4th and 1. I don't remember exactly where they were. It was like around like the 40 or like the 30, probably around like the 35 or so. Because it was about a 52-yard field goal that they attempted with Daniel Carlson, who's become a really, really reliable kicker. So they went for the points, but they missed the kick. And I've heard so many people be like, why would you kick the field goal there? Why the fuck would you do that? Why don't you go for it? I'm like, what's the difference? Now, I guess you could maybe argue that here's the difference. The Bears are in much closer field goal range than the Raiders were. So if it's 4th and 1 in both, like the Raiders should have gone for it to make an easier kick. Okay, I can kind of see that. A 52-yarder is certainly no gimme, but it is the kind of thing that like you expect a kicker to be able to make, and Daniel Carlson can make kicks like that. Like if they're going for like a 60-yarder or something, I'm like, no, you should probably go for it. And it's also not a game winner to end the game, it's to extend the lead, but you're extending the lead from 4 points to 7. That is a pretty notable difference. And I'm like, no, I get the Raiders saying, the Packers offense hasn't done shit, but we want to go ahead and extend the lead. Let's go ahead and take it. I've clowned on Josh McDaniels for doing dumb shit. I think him going for the field goal at the end of that Steelers game instead of the touchdown was a stupid decision. This one, not so much. Because like even with the Bears, I'm like, no. You've got a 4th and 1 deep in their territory. It's a tie game, but they have all the momentum. Do you trust your defense right now to get a stop? No? Okay. Go for it on 4th and 1. Bleed more clock. And more importantly, get that fucking touchdown. Did it happen? No. But I like the decision from the Bears. Here, I like it too. Like, neither of those decisions really bothered me. It's not like a Brandon Staley, like, I'm going to go for it on 4th and 1 deep in my own territory. Like, no. That, I think, is stupid. Both of these situations make sense to me. Because even if the Raiders had gone for it on 4th and 1, I probably would have been like, well, even then, because, like, I feel like the Raiders going for it, it's like, let's try to get a closer field goal and shit. Like, I can see the logic in that, too. But I do also like, hey, I want to make them drive a long field. Like, I don't want to punt it because I can get points. Make them drive down the field and make them have to score a touchdown and get the extra point. Put some pressure on them. But anyways, I'm supposed to be talking about the fucking Patriots game. My point is, I know I went on a tangent. My point is, I really don't know what to think of the Raiders because I've seen Josh McDaniels make really bad decisions, although I think that game was not a terrible decision. Belichick is a far better coach. But wow, this team looks like dog shit. They look bad. They look broken. The Raiders are the exact kind of team I would want to play if I am broken because I can beat them, but I don't know if I will. You know? It's kind of like it's like the Washington and Bears game. It's these on both sides, like, this is the kind of team we can beat. They can give us some confidence. They can give us some hope. We might not, which will break us even further, but we can. It's like, man, I really, really want to pick the Patriots because I want to have, I don't know, some hope in them. So Belichick can get just a little bit closer to that wins record. Because I feel like I do want him to get it if he's this close. Do I actually... It's like, on the one hand, I'm like, do I actually think the Patriots can beat the Raiders? No, because the Patriots are terrible. But I'm also like, am I really doubting the Patriots' ability to beat the fucking Raiders? They lost to them last year. The Raiders also don't have Chandler Jones anymore, who was instrumental in that win. But Mac Jones also looks far worse than he did last year. My head is telling me to pick the Raiders. Weirdly enough, my gut is telling me to pick the Patriots. And I remember, I believe it was last week, maybe it's the week before, but one of those weeks is like every time I went with my gut, I was wrong. There have been other weeks where my gut was correct. I feel like I have to pick the Raiders. I don't like how that sounded. It's not even like I hate the Raiders or anything. It was like saying it out loud. I'm like, no, I don't trust that. I am going to pick the Patriots. I feel better picking that one. It's just like the vibe I get. I'm going to take the Patriots, but I really don't know about this one, man. The Lions and the Bucks, I think this is low-key going to be a really, really fucking good game. This is a strength-on-strength game. The Lions have a great offense. The Bucks have a good defense. The Lions' defense... Though they've kind of shown the last few weeks they're no joke. That pass rush is legit. The Bucks offense also isn't terrible. Like I've said, like Mayfield is still good. He's got good receivers. Mike Evans is a fucking stud. Hate him, but he's a stud. I do think the Lions win. I think it's a really close and fun game though. But I am going to pick Detroit. Arizona at the Rams. The Rams definitely slowed down against the Eagles, but I think I wrote it down again. What did I call them? Cooper Kupp and Kapuka. They've got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Like, they have a very, very strong receiving duo. I'm just going to say that it's a bit too much for the Cardinals to handle. Like, the Cardinals could not deal with Jamar Chase, and now they got to deal with two really good receivers because T. Higgins wasn't playing for the Bengals. If he was... Who knows? Maybe Jamar Chase would have only gotten like 2 touchdowns and $150, and then he would have gotten like all the other shit. I'm going to pick the Rams. I'm trying to speed run through this now because I spent a lot of time just talking about the Raiders. Eagles and the Jets. This is another one of those weird history games because I heard this yesterday. If it's true, it's wild that the Jets have never beaten the Eagles. That's crazy. I don't think that changes. The Eagles still look like one of the best teams in the league. And the Jets, there's a part of me that wants to, like, I thought they won last week. No, sorry. They did win last week because that was Denver. I'm like, yeah, they're on a 2-game win streak. Wait, no, they didn't beat the Chiefs. No, they didn't. It feels like they did, which is weird to say and think, but I honestly, like, thought they had. I guess that's just, like, how high I was on the Jets after that game because they showed so much fight on offense and defense. And then they won the next game. I'm like, holy shit, they have momentum. They can do this. Okay, now they're hosting the Eagles. They can, but I don't think they will because I think the Eagles are just too good. The primetime game is the Giants and the Bills. Why are the Giants on primetime again? This is week 6, and they've had 4 primetime games. Their first, like, what was it, like 4 out of 5? Or no, it was like 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 were primetime. It was like, why? Like, I know why. They're the Giants. It's New York. It's a big market. It's the NFC East. That's usually a big market. They were in the playoffs last year. So they're like, oh, they're actually good. We can do stuff with them. But I don't want to watch them on primetime. They're fucking ass. Buffalo's going to destroy them. Yes, Buffalo has their own problems. They've got a lot of injuries on defense. So you think the Giants could take advantage of that and make it close, maybe even win? But do you trust this Giants offense to do anything? They don't have an offensive line. They don't even have a running back. Like, I mean, they do, but like Saquon, unless Saquon's playing, but he's probably still injured. Daniel Jones can't do shit because he's on his back the entire game. And then even when he's not, he throws stupid interceptions. I think Buffalo's going to destroy in this game. I got the Bills easy. The Monday night game is Dallas against the Chargers. I've got the Chargers because I don't believe in Dallas at all. Not after last week. I had said, I'll say it again, losing to a team like the 49ers does not say that you are a bad team. Most teams are probably going to lose to the 49ers. But losing the way that you did shows you do not belong in that upper echelon of good teams. Now, the Chargers, to me, are not in that upper echelon of good teams. So it's like, okay, well, they can't beat the Niners. They can hang with the Chargers. Yes, and the Chargers do have Staley, who will probably do something stupid. But I feel like the Chargers are going to find ways to take apart that Dallas defense because San Francisco did it with ease. Kellen Moore knows the Cowboys. He's going to pick them apart. And Dallas, I'm kind of looking for, this sounds really mean, and it is, but I'm looking forward to all the conversations that are going to happen after Dallas loses this game. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not me being like, man, I hate Dak Prescott. I can't wait for everyone to call him, like, overrated and overpaid. No, it's nothing like that. But it's just, like, the chaos media shitstorm that's going to happen. That, I think, will be pretty fun. I think it just really comes down to this. I just think the Cowboys are super overrated this year. Losing to the Cardinals in a vacuum, not awful, but like you lost to a bad team, quote unquote. Got your asses kicked by like the only really good team you've played. Jets game was way closer than I thought it should have been, like following the game throughout. That raises an eyebrow. The Cardinals game made me like have to lower my glasses. And then the 49ers game, like, no, yeah, you're bad. Yes, there are 2 blowout games. They destroyed the Giants. They destroyed the Patriots. The Saints destroyed the Patriots. And I love my Saints. I'm a delusional Saints fan. But I'm not like, yeah, the Saints are a Super Bowl contender. I hope they are. But do I actually think so? No, I think they're inconsistent. They have good talent, But I'm not like, oh yeah, they're winning the fucking Super Bowl the way that Cowboys fans do, the way that people talk about this Cowboys team. They're overrated. They can beat the Chargers. They should beat the Chargers. They probably will beat the Chargers. But after a showing like that, I'm not gonna pick them the next week. The Chargers have had ample time to prepare for this, and their offensive coordinator knows that fucking team really well. They're winning that game. So, and then the bye weeks are the Packers and the Steelers. So, and going over all my picks, Kansas City over Denver, Titans over the Ravens in London, Saints beating the Texans on the road, Atlanta beating Washington at home, the Jags beating the Colts, keeping that streak alive, Seattle beating Cincy on the road, the Bears upset. Is that even a huge upset at this point? But the Bears beating the Vikings at home, 49ers beating the Browns on the road, but the Browns defense really makes it a good game. Patriots beat the Raiders, Lions beat the Bucks and possibly the game of the week, Rams taking care of the Cardinals, Eagles beating the Jets, Buffalo beating the shit out of the Giants on primetime, and then the Chargers beating Dallas in primetime. Those are my picks. We'll see what the fuck happens. I haven't been great the past 2 weeks. Hopefully that changes.